we'll keep looking for new people, new talented players, and we keep adding them to our club. We are building it big this year. One thing that scared me was on the trade tariff, which is really going to be a hit on Canada. In the end, you will definitely get benefited out of it. All we are trying to do is, instead of paying the entire money to somebody who's free, you are trying to reduce the amount of money you are paying for living in this country. Client thinks that, okay, if this person can travel and work from here in my time zone, that would be beneficial for projects and the roadmap that that particular client has, then they see the value in bringing them here, and that is the reason they go for H1B. It will get audited by the government. If you own a home, you don't pay anyone. We are going to publish their information to somebody else or sell them to somebody.
Most of the people don't have financial education here, and it is not provided in Canada in any way or form. Or how can people, what can people do more to educate themselves?
Yeah, I would say like we should look back at the history, because we know like in the past what happened. We used to have a piggy bank where people used to save, just take some pennies, put it there, and then have it there whenever they need it as an emergency fund or whatever it may be. They used to use it in the past. But nowadays, with all the digital thing transformation and the world, the way it's getting changed, people forget the roots, right? They always think that buying fancy stuffs and uh, driving a fancy car or a bike, owning a house, is all of those are the biggest thing for them. So people, one thing in reality, what they try to not remember is they need some. They always need the financial freedom, what they deserve, which I don't think many people are aware on how they can achieve it. When somebody talks about finance, obviously the first thing that comes to their mind is, can I trust this person? Which all of us might have faced, whoever was has been a financial advisor. Bottom line is, people need to know what they need to do, and they for that they definitely need financial education. So financial education is not something that will gain overnight. That is a journey that goes on for a long time. If you really need to know your finance, the problem with people is that they think they know each and everything on their finance, but only in reality we know that they go to a job, they get paid, they look at the bank statement, okay, I get a salary, and they're good. People don't even know how much tax they're paying. Um, at least in this country, they keep claiming that the taxes are high, but what are you doing, or what do you know to reduce those taxes? Nobody is gonna. I don't think anybody realizes that, or even has the knowledge of. And recently, I met a friend of mine who is also part of our team. So he doesn't even know what is a TFSA, tax-free savings account, which made me really shocked. In reality, TFSA is the most basic tool that I would suggest for any kind of an emergency that you have, because that money what you put into TFSA is something that's already taxed, and I don't think if you put it into any kind of f- um, any kind of a tool in TFSA, let it be a bank, let it be with any insurance products, investments, you are gonna get a lot of returns, and that returns, uh, you don't have to pay a penny as a tax. So I don't think people realize this is one of the tools which is available. Obviously, there are n number of things that we can do. People just don't know how to make their money work for them. That's the most pretty part I see in today's world.
That's a good point, right? When you say people doesn't know how to make their money work for them. I know some of my friends who make their investment into stock market. They're very much making their money work for them, and they reap the gain as much as they could. Would you see that's a very good way of like making the money work for them, or from your experience or from your knowledge, what would be the best to save the money?
Yeah, if I would have to suggest, then I would obviously use whatever tools is available today, as of now in Canada, which is obviously the government approved ones, and you have first you just need to have your money in a place where it's secure, and you have easy accessibility on top of it, which is the most critical part. And the the thing that people think, for most part, is bank is the only place where they can trust and put the money. But most of the time they might not realize that, okay, let's say bank gives us a GIC and you're going to get it for, let's say, 4%. People think that that's a huge return, but in turn, if you take into account the inflation that we have in this country, I think it's the net whatever money they are putting, they will just have that money with them. The return is not going to help them with a 4% interest. So that part, most of them will not get it. They think their money is secure. Yeah, obviously your money is secure, but it's not growing or doing any good for you. That's the part which they might not realize.
I want to go back a step backwards. You just mentioned that the housing, most of the people are investing into housing. How is housing investing in housing a bad idea? I do know that most of the people, I'd say 90% of the people, consider housing investing in real estate. I don't want to say housing, but real estate is a good idea. Why you just couple of minutes ago you said no, it's not good. It may not be a good idea. Why do you think that?
Housing, I mean, with the way the current market is, and with the way things are trending towards, I know that interest rates are getting down, then it's always proportional to the house price, actually. People might not realize, some of them. So always it goes proportional. So when the interest rates are cut, then obviously the house prices are inflated. That is how the whole country
Mhm.
housing market is right now, as far as I know. And um, the problem is, like, even for buying a house, people don't realize, like, they could utilize the FHSA. FHSA is a new the product which was newly launched by the government for buying your first home, which I don't think many people still have awareness on. So only when somebody tells them, like, people, mostly they don't go to any financial advisor and they ask what it is about, because they are scared about, whatever reason it may be. They think their information is not secure. They think, we are going to publish their information to somebody else or sell them to somebody, which is really a very bad perception, in my opinion. um, you you need to have that knowledge. You need to learn from a financial advisor, or if you want to learn for yourself, then obviously there is a licensing exam which you can opt for as well, as a career aspiration too. But at least at a very minimum, I would suggest that, in this country, at least there is 60% of the people who don't have that financial awareness or the knowledge. They still live by what they know, and they don't really trust anyone. They think that we are gonna take their money and run away.
You said about FHSA, right? Which is a program for first time home buyers. What could be what is basically the benefit of FHSA? Just for the like listeners for our podcast.
FHSA is a really good tool which was released by the government. I know, people also have this wrong perception, right? So FHSA limit for every individual, either they are irrespective they are working or not, it is $8,000 per annum, which is, which can go up to a maximum of $40,000 as of now, per the companies, per the government regulations. So if people think that, okay, we have $8,000, and they think that I have to put $8,000 right away into this so that I can utilize this year's room. That is not true. You can even start with $100 into an FHSA and create an account for yourself, when you know that you're obviously going to buy a house in the future state. Let it be down the road, 1 year, 2 year, doesn't really matter. As long as you use the room for that year and you get into the tool, then that room is going to get carry forward for you in to the next year as well. So which is a really good tool. The main advantage I would call is you get a tax break on it, similar to what you get in an RRSP. So if you put $8,000, you show that as okay, I have put this into the first time home buyer plan, which is completely tax deductible, and you would get really good returns if you are on a high tax bracket.
Okay, so FHSA, when you said like $8,000 per annum, is that for one person in a family or for like?
It is for one person in the family, yes. So, like I said, it's irrespective if you're working or not. If you're married, if you have a spouse, even if they are working or if they're not working, they also get that room because it's going to be their first home. So, you both can put $8,000 per annum.
I think the other beauty of FHSA is it like Sean mentioned, FHSA works as an RRSP, like that there is no
No,
tax
not.
for contribution, and likewise when the amount is going to be used for buying the home, it works with no tax, for any growth you have in the contribution. Yeah, and it's going to be tax free if it is used for buying the home.
It won't work as RRSP, but it is similar to RRSP in terms of tax credits, right?
That's correct.
So it is, yeah. Yeah, RRSP is entirely different, but FHSA, somebody is making $40,000, $80,000, whatever. Let's say 60,000 on average. Most of the people make 60. How much do you think he need to save to buy a house now in FHSA? And he need to save for what, 5 years on 8,000 basis? So that means how is it useful for people to, in terms of, let's say if somebody, some ex want to buy a house, he need to pay down payment of whatever, right? So all for in order for him to save $8,000 a year, he should save $800 kind of, give or take. Who can save 800,000 every month?
So, you're asking how a person can save
Yeah,
$800 per month?
yeah.
It's really about what is their pay grade and what would be their max, which is affordable for them. Obviously, if both husband and wife are working, then obviously they should be able to contribute that much on a every month basis into FHSA, or they could consider putting it as a lump sum, which if they have it in hand, they can put it as a lump sum and then claim that year tax return, put that money again into FHSA. That is also an option. So people don't realize that there are multiple ways to work out and make sure that your money works for you. That is something which they cannot get it themselves. That is something somebody has to let them know who is a finance professional.
So if I want to buy a house, just an example, I will come to you tomorrow. I'll give you a call, make an appointment, come to you,
Sure, anytime.
right? And then what makes you, okay? How will you advise me on how to proceed? Will you advise me on how to proceed, or will you give me a roadmap or anything to show how do I need to save the money, or you just say, hey, put some money in this FHSA, and then that's what is the kind of approach that you take to suggest the people or advise the people?
Certainly, as a financial advisor, I have to check or need to know what all are your current commitments, and in case if you have any debts with you, um, and what is your affordability and cash flow on a monthly basis. Depending on that, I think I will be able to provide you with a roadmap and a solution.
When someone is trying to buy a home,
Yeah,
what type of suggestion will be provided? My first question is this something that person is affordable to buy a home,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Depends on their pay grade, our affordability,
yeah.
their expenses, debts, everything.
But now banks think that individual can pay a rent for $3,000 or $3,500. At the same time, the same weighing scale say the person is not affordable to pay a mortgage for 300,000, sorry, 3,000 to $3,500. I know, so that makes many of the home buyers continue to stay in a home to rent or pay someone else mortgage, right? I don't really or clearly getting that weighing scale how it differs when it is paying someone else mortgage. Banks are not directly getting involved, but I'm giving the proof that I'm affordable to pay that money. But banks are not believing the same person to give a loan to buy a new home. Why is that difference? I know, what is your take for banks to take that difference in, like, difference in weighing the same profile when they are able to pay the rent for the same what's mortgage money for every month? Why cannot they provide the loan for that individual?
That is an interesting question, right? So the way bank thinks is, according to me, um, they for them everything is a liability, right? So when they're if they look at your finance profile, obviously you have paid rent, but you have not a made a payment of that big to them or any other bank for that matter. So I feel like the bank only looks at what you currently owe and what is your current affordability and what is your take home before they even make a decision on you whether you will be able to pay this on a regular basis. So I think it's more on the liability side what they look at. And they don't, unlike landlord who goes by your financial profile and affordability paycheck and all that stuff, looking at your bank statement, and they'll be okay, you can rent my house, and they sign the agreement. It's completely a different picture with the bank. That's what I feel the reason why they don't easily approve you for a mortgage. It really depends on case by case basis, I think. But obviously, I don't work for a bank, so
So the other interesting fact, when Ashok was saying, right, when a family want to buy a home now, and as a financial professional, the advice is to invest or contribute saving some, like, initial payment or the down payment through FHSA to grow their money. First question is, with this growth in like grow in inflation, where is the chance for me to save money? you know unless I say, like, I'm interested to save money. Let's say I want to buy a home, right, and I want to save money, and my cash flow is not actually, giving space to save money to buy a home. For someone like me, say for example, coming to you, what would be your wise advice in terms of saving money?
my advice would be, um, in mostly on your cut down on your expenses which you don't really need to. Um, if we take an example, you might have had a subscription of $50, even though it's for a year. You might have not even realized that it's still going through, and you might not even use that service, for example. That is something you can cut down on. Review what are so I will have an open challenge, right? How many of us sits with your credit card statement on a every month basis and check what all are your expenses and where all are you leaking money? If you go to, since we are in Canada, I'm quoting Tim Hortons, right? You're going to Tim Hortons every day, you don't mind spending $10, but you're hesitant to spend that $10 for yourself to
Mhm.
secure a financial future of the family, which is a sad truth.
Yeah, with
I
that.
strongly believe that if you review your own expenses, I'm pretty sure you still have a very good room for you to save money and also aspire more from a financial freedom perspective.
I came to know about your profession too. You are into IT, right?
Yes.
Why did you move into finance?
Yeah, technically, I wanted to learn a lot about the financial aspects of this country. I lived in the U.S. as well for 6 years, and I lacked the same financial literacy over there, and I didn't want to do the same mistake over in Canada. So I chose to learn about finance, and that is why I aspired to become a financial advisor, which would help firstly my own family, myself, and I will also be able to help a lot of other families too.
So, being a long-standing IT professional, and continuing now as a financial professional, what type of differences you feel, individual as an individual, you have some experience in IT, and on the finance side, what are the major differences on these two areas?
Well, both are completely different because as a financial advisor, you get an opportunity to be your own boss, right?
Mm.
In IT, you work for a boss, obviously, and you're worried about your continuous learnings. You get to year-end reviews, and somebody is going to rate you and give you a hike, which is not even enough for a Tim Hortons coffee. So that's a completely different thing. So as a financial advisor, you establish yourself, you try to learn as much as you can, keep up with the trends, and you grab as much info as possible based on what you learned for your provincial exams, and based on what you discuss with your colleagues, and you get to know a lot of things, which would be really helpful down the road, and you will be able to help a lot of families.
How did somebody approach you for how did you get this idea of jumping into a different stream from IT?
Yes, so I went to a financial professional who is my trainer too, and he did recommend me to also aspire being a financial advisor. So I initially, I also had a lot of interest. Usually, I manage my finances well. That's what I believe. Um, at least I take care of what is my expense, what is my take home every month basis. I used to monitor it closely. I really don't like to pay any kind of debt or be in debt, which is what I also advise my clients to. So get rid of your debts and control what is your unwanted expenses, and then save. Give priority to save. If, that would be the first thing I tell each of my clients.
Yeah, that is a very important topic. I think if we start discussing about that, it will take a lot of. We can discuss it for a long time, and especially in I said I told my story in all the episodes. I think I was in very bad debt,
Hmm.
very bad debt. I think you may not know that story, but I was in debt for about $168,000. I have this bunch of credit cards from all banks, almost Walmart, even Crypto.com card. It's not it's a credit card, but still it's had to pay it back. If not, they'll take it back from my crypto portfolio or whatever. And then I had I had the student loan, 37,000.
Hmm.
I know car 37,000. It's a brand new car. I don't know why I went with that. Anyways, and then I had a student loan 27, and yeah, I was in a very bad condition in terms of debt, but thankfully January 11th this year, last year actually, I cleared all my debt. I don't have any debt.
There was a mindset, right, Pete, when you said many of your friends investing in real estate.
Real estate.
uh, Meaning for investment is mean no, I invest on something when no, after a few years or whenever the market is good, there is going to be larger gain. Let's take this example. Post COVID, market was crazy and crazy, where people were flying left, right, up, down, wherever possible they start buying home. And when the interest rates start picking up, right, I don't know, many families who are really bought their very first home in that competing market, they started feeling like, why should I own a home, right? If the concept of investing in a home is like, not buying a home is really an investment, they shouldn't have that feeling at all.
I wouldn't just say that buying a house is an investment. Probably that's the right term if you consider somebody who is already having their first home, and they are looking for additional rental income or something. Then maybe that can be considered as an investment. first time or first home is still a dream to many in this country. And if you have to achieve it, you have to work towards it, obviously, in terms of your income and expenses, like I said earlier. And the other thing is, to your earlier topic on how would you relate paying a rental, somebody else's mortgage. People are ready to do that, but they're not ready to own their own house by paying a mortgage. There is nothing called, if you own a home, you don't pay anyone. Obviously, you are paying to the bank. Um, so people think that, okay, we are paying some a landlord and their mortgage is taken care, either fully or partially. Um, and if we own a home, obviously we are going to pay interest to the bank. So that is the general thought process that I feel in in our people in the country. But in reality, what we are trying to do is, if we buy a home, we know we are paying interest on top of it, and only a minimal amount goes as an equity into your we can call it a saving into your home. So even though it's very minimal, I would still consider that down the road, probably 3 to 5 years, you're not going to lose anything out of that house. Obviously, that house is going to have its own appreciation, and in the end, you will definitely get benefited out of it. All we are trying to do is, instead of paying the entire money to somebody which is free, you are trying to reduce the amount of money you are paying for living in this country. That is how I see as owning a house versus renting it.
Again, between IT and finance, right? You have mentioned that every year in IT there will be kind of a review and probably a bonus after the review, or could be a promotion, so there are some certain, a hierarchy or a process to assess the performance of an individual in IT. And when you do a business, who is there to assess your performance, or how that performance is being assessed, how you are motivating yourself, towards what I supposed to do with my experience on today. And let's say in IT, when I join as a trainee, there is going to be a specific skill set I will be trained for, and there are going to be some hands-on experience working towards a project. And as I gain experience, the laid out process is going to see me what is your overall experience, what skill set you have, and then you will start learning more towards that, or you can diversify to learn that skill. Finance is a very common terminology, and being it is away from IT, in terms of the overall work nature, and it's not an you said it's a business, right? How or what type of skill is basically required to do this finance related business?
It's not about any skill. It's about more on towards, I would say, the knowledge you possess with the various types of products, or what are the ways that you could help your client and and client's family. That is what. So obviously, like you said, there is performance review in IT, but here there is no performance review, because you are the boss of your business, and you service your clients, and your performance will speak to itself. That all depends on your clients credibility, what they have on you. That is what my take is on. We do have a performance review, but it's a review for yourself, and also to sit with the client every year and make sure that their financial needs, or their financial products, or the investments what they are doing is taken care properly. We do get audited by the government, um, and we need to make sure that we have all the paperwork documented, and whatever we discuss with the clients, and whatever products or whatever solutions we are giving to them, we have to make sure that everything is documented, so that they don't um we don't get into trouble, either the client or ourselves.
Okay, so when you mentioned there is no skill really required to do a financial being a financial professional, what will make a person who want to be a professional, or what type of skill set he really need to have? If not a skill set, what is the mindset?
I would say they need to get into a business mindset rather than being in an employee mindset, which most of us would always have, because we all think we have to go to a job and we get paid and we get assessed there based on performance. If they need you, they keep you, or if they don't need you, they fire you. That is the reality here, and people think that they keep should keep running hard in their job, and they might not find even time to do anything additional. um, Obviously nobody would say no if they have something to do extra than their job and still make good money. Then this is the place for you. So if you are a financial advisor, obviously you work with the clients, you serve, you take care of the financial needs of that family, you give them a roadmap, you plan it out for them, including kids, including their own save for yourself. That's what we usually say, and all of these are taken care, and the family is definitely going to be happy down the road.
So, by the way, when you are saying about the business mindset or helping a family with a solution, you can help for the education. What are the various ways a family can save for their education? Like, will you be able to talk about it a little more about?
Yeah, certainly. There is something called RESP, which is Registered Education Savings Program from the government. So it's a very good tool for investing or saving money for your kids' education. Uh, so the early you start, the better. We always say that with finance, because the even a smallest of contribution that you make, government is going to pay you 20% of whatever you are paying into their educational savings account. That's a government program. It's going to be there always. So it is like you're losing on free money if you really don't utilize that opportunity. So you really, you can put, you can even start small. If you have a kid, start with even $50 a month. That is still good. And you are still going to get $10 from the government, which is 20%. And down the road, you keep contributing the same every month. $50 is nothing but probably a meal when you eat outside with with the family of two. Or if you have two kids, then it's $100. Then it's going to be with a family of four. Whatever you spend for a meal outside, if you put it into their savings, then obviously it's going to help them down the road. They don't have to worry about their educational costs, their bills. We know how many students are struggling in this country right now. So it's really critical part which every family should think about and take care of it from an education perspective. And these we call as a government grants, which is the 20% that I talked about.
Yeah, I'm pretty much sure that most of the people are not aware of this RESP. I do have my clients. Not I do not want. I don't want to say client, but I do have some friends who are not aware of RESP for a long time until we approached them, or during a general conversation, the topic came, and I was like, okay, you know, how much are you saving for? Are you even saving for your kid, whatever, right? And then they said, okay, what is that? They thought initially it would be bank account, savings account on a kid's name or whatever, right? And then but like, no, there is something called RESP. It's a good tool and whatever, right? But most of the people are not aware of it, and people are taking kids' education very lightly. I do agree with that part. Most of the people, they say,
They don't realize that in
I think many people believe magically somehow they are going to get the money when the kids go to
yeah, there is a
college.
magic, right? There is a magic. Yeah, there is something called OSAP. That's the magic that most of the people believe, because under your students assistant program, OSAP, that's the magic most of the people believe, because government gives them loan, kids take student loan, and then do their education and whatever, and then work anywhere to in any job or anywhere just to make money to clear that loan. How do I know about that program? I took OSAP. And it took me 5 6 years to clear that.
And Sean, you mentioned about students struggling here, right, in Canada. What type of struggle students are really facing? In like, I haven't seen much about a student struggle, but no interested to know about what type of.
So students struggle in many ways, right? So they have, let's say if student who is who have let's say student which who have opted for their RESP by their parents, and they've been given the money they need when they went to college, versus people who think that they had money but they couldn't really afford when it's time for the kid to go to college. These are two different kids I would take as an example. So the kid or the parents who contributed for their kids RESP, let's say they started at, like I said, $50, whatever amount is, and then they contributed entire like tenure of 17 years, and then they are going to see the grants together. It's a really good amount of money if you can do the math, including the compounding at the rate, let's say bare minimum 6%, whatever. So the amount they're going to see, or the kid is going to get in their hand when they go to college, they won't realize that importance until they are in that situation. The kid whose parents did not contribute to that RESP, and the kid who is struggling to pay his bills or take care of his own expenses when he gets into college, that is when he would realize the value of that much money what they have uh, put into over the years.
Basically, an RESP created by a parent, and a parent who opted that student to or the kid to get a loan, the burden is going to be less on the person who have an RESP.
Obviously,
Because there is less amount or there may be zero debt on the education loan. So the moment they finish the college and they start working, they are going to see all the hard earned money can be saved than paying it for their education. Okay.
it's not only on the RESP part, that is where you get the government grants, so that's attractive for many people to receive free money, obviously. But the other aspect also is, if let's say the parents decide early, and then there is something called is a really good tool. uh, you can ask any financial advisor, they would suggest that as well. So you keep adding it's a life coverage for the kid, and obviously you are going to have the fund value too. So down the road, when the kid goes into college, and if they really need to utilize that money, which is a fitting as a fund value in that account, they can always take a loan out of it rather than going for a government sponsored loan or whatever, because it's their own money, obviously, and they still have the coverage, plus they can utilize that fund value for their expenses in college.
Yeah, so we are coming into insurance topic now. So most of the people will run away from insurance, right?
Yes.
As soon as we come, even now,
You
people
know, right?
watching.
People are not going to die, so they think they really don't want an insurance.
The problem with that is, people think, okay, it's not about you will die tomorrow, right? It is about securing your family. That's the main part, which no, I don't think many people get it. The most critical thing, or the thing which nobody wants to face, is the financial crisis for their family. Today you have a home, you live a peaceful life, everything is good, a beautiful family, you have the kids. So what really adds value to the kid is not something you buy in the store as a toy. It is something, every penny that you contribute towards their education or their life coverage is down the road going to be the most valuable thing for them, because of how many kids who are grown, when they go to college, who are struggling financially. If you look at all those numbers, then you wouldn't hesitate. You would definitely try to, even if you had to cut a meal when you go out to eat and you save for them, you will definitely do it. And obviously for themselves, like we say, pay for yourself. You have to pay for yourself, definitely. If you have to be financially free when you are at the age of retirement, people think that they have a lot of time for retirement, and they delay the process. And the worst part is, if something, some kind of a illness happens, and if they are not insurable anymore, I don't think people get that point at all. That is the most sad part. When you need insurance, you may not be insurable. That part, if everybody realizes, then obviously they won't have this lack of knowledge on the insurance. They think that they pay insurance for nothing. but the value they get out of it in case of something bad happens, nobody is ready to realize that unless until something happens to them or their close circle. That is the sad part there. And obviously for insurance, if if government is not ready to going to mandate this, obviously. For life insurance is their own, it's up to their individual. And most people think whoever is working for the company, they think that they have their coverage. Nobody have ever, I bet nobody has even looked at their coverage, what they have in their employer
Yeah,
provided, because it's all group coverage. I don't think they're gonna, but their family is going to be financially stress free if they just trust that coverage. And obviously once your employment ends, it's going to end. Nobody realizes that. And when the employment ends, it might be already too late for them, because they might now no longer be insurable. So these are the things which people should really consider or think about. Take a minute and uh, think about uncertain thing, whatever that can happen in their day-to-day life, and then definitely plan for it. If we buy a car, we take insurance. We buy a home, we take insurance, because it's all mandatory. You cannot afford that much, but
buy a
your
dog,
life, yeah,
you
buy.
need insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But you are not ready to insure yourself because you don't value you much. You value the things that you own, but you don't value yourself, which is a sad part.
yeah, I agree with that part. Insurance is a it's a different topic that people. It's a certain topic that people want to avoid always.
So basically, the way how I see about insurance, right? When it is said, when you buy a car, when if you want to drive, you need an insurance. When you buy a home, or if you're renting a home, you need to have insurance. People who are starting with a car insurance or a home insurance, basically paying an insurance amount every month, where they are not going to have any claim at all, because one 99% they had the confidence that I'm going to be safe, and whatever the money I'm going to pay against this insurance. So I was in a rental home for 6 years, probably 5 years, right? Or I stayed in a rental home for 5 years. The amount I paid for the rental insurance, did I made any claim? Zero claim made. In the street I was living, or adjacent street, probably in the city where I was living, I haven't heard anyone who are renting the house. To the best of my knowledge, no one has made any claim. So some people believe insurance is basically a scam. Two, likewise for car insurance. There are many accidents happening, but unless otherwise it happens or being experienced by the individual, they will see all their contribution towards their insurance as a waste of money. Because until otherwise it happens to that individual, I wish nothing is going to happen for them. But in case I'm being good, I'm walking in the road, or I'm driving okay, I'm expecting the same from others, but it's only an expectation. But in reality, if it is going to surprise me, then it's going to cost me a lot. Sometimes it may be the life, right?
But
That's the aspect, where people are with these two, like contribution towards a home or maybe towards a car. They may be taking that experience towards the life, which I see it's lack of awareness, or maybe it's a, they do not see the real reason for why an insurance is required.
car insurance, the home insurance, it is mandatory made by the government, whatever. Right? But the thing is, we are not paying that for ourselves. You are not paying your car insurance for yourself. Remember that you are paying it for somebody else. If somebody you hit somebody, you will get sued or whatever. Right? You have to pay. Continue. You have to make payments. I do remember. I do have a friend, not friend. I would say he works for me long back. He used to work for me long back. Something happened. Somebody hit his a member of his family, whatever. Something happened, and his family or that guy, he's still getting paid $12,000 a month. Every month they are paying $12,000. Who? The other guy who hit the who hit their car, right? They went into medical trauma, whatever, right? Mental trauma, sorry. So in auto insurance, we are not paying for ourselves. We are paying for somebody else
And the car.
and the car, yeah. And the home insurance is the same for the banks to the most part. Yeah, we'll get the home repaired. You try to claim, make a simple claim on the home for plumbing or whatever. Check what will happen to your insurance claim. Sorry, the insurance premium next month. They're going to bang us, right?
So if you think about it, to your point on that, that the insurance people think that it's a scam or something. It's, if you think negative about insurance, then obviously you're never going to realize the importance of it. So let's think about how many GoFundMe campaigns we have seen in our
Exactly.
life so far. I see this. I'm part of various WhatsApp groups, and I see in every WhatsApp group there is one every week, which is no, it's a no-brainer.
Mm.
The reason why it's coming up, it's because their financial future was not secured. Their financial freedom was never there. They did not secure their family. Probably either the spouse or the person itself, men or woman, they are the only money who have been making money out of employment. That's the only income that family was relying on, and they didn't really plan for their financial future, due to which they ended up in a situation where, I'll take two scenarios, right? Same like what I did earlier. One person, he bought a house, he had a mortgage, he took insurance, life insurance for himself, and the other person did the same thing, but he did not take a life insurance. He thought everything is good. He doesn't need to pay an insurance. The sad part is, if, let's say, both of them are single earner and they pass away, who's going to be financially stable? The family which had insurance for them, at least the mortgage amount, they are going to get paid in less than a week into their hand on whatever life coverage they took. The coverage was taken by the person. On the other hand, person who did not take an insurance, life insurance, they pass away, they their all the accounts or whatever is going to be getting into uh, as their estate, and that estate has to get into a probate process, which is a very lengthy process, and people have been waiting like months and months to get their money, even though they had it in their spouse bank account, which is the sad part.
I
So
heard about someone, not someone, in the close circle, 7 years. 7 years they're waiting for to get their property back
exactly.
from estate.
So there is a no brainer. So anyone, or for that matter, it's not just about home, because home is obviously the biggest debt one can have, uh, either good or bad with the current scenario. But um, I would suggest bare minimum they should definitely have some kind of a coverage to protect their family.
Where you have multiple phases. One as an employer, not as employee to an employer, being an entrepreneur. You are also a person who is much into sports, now being a secretary of a cricket club. Where do you really have time to manage all these?
It's all about time management, right? So you work in a full-time job, and obviously you're going to be busy Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Lucky enough to get that. So, like I said, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, and then obviously family time in the evening. So I try to meet my clients when I get appointments. I try to call them and book appointments, and then block that time. And obviously, we do have weekends. So during that time, I spend time for the club. We'll keep looking for new people, new talented players, and we keep adding them to our club. We are building it big this year.
Oh, nice. So how many number of matches we can expect in the club?
Yeah, we consider part time, full time, both. So if you have, we are planning to register two cricket leagues this summer. So it will be a total of 26 games. That's what we are planning. So if you're full time, then you get minimum 16 games, and if you're a part time, you get 10 games.
So you play in inside intercity or interprovince or
We play a lot of cities in GTA, and also we were playing in the Kitchener Waterloo side as well.
okay? How like how do you spend time with? Is there any training that's been provided for the people, your players, or
Yeah, we do a lot of winter nets. We already started our net session. It's going on. So we meet every alternate week for now, and then from February we meet every week. Every weekend we go. We start to um, practice from now on for the summer season, which starts in May, beginning of May or end of April. That is when it starts. So we keep preparing ourselves. Yeah, we do have a lot of mentors in the club. There are a lot of they have a lot of potential. They groom players. So we help each other and we try to grow the club.
so you're just into management or you play?
I do play.
That's interesting. So, out of different games that which is available, no, when you step outside the door, what made you to be part of the cricket club?
Obviously, it's in the blood. Right, from whoever is from India background, so everybody loves to play cricket or at least watch cricket. So I chose to play.
You are a IT professional, financial professional, and a cricket club secretary. What other wish list do you have for 2025 and the upcoming years?
I don't have a big laundry list or anything for 2025 specifically. I just want to keep grooming myself as an entrepreneur and help as many families as I can, as and when possible, and eventually being an entrepreneur all the time, because you get your own, you get to do your own stuff. You don't rely on any company firing you or anything. You don't have to be worried about the job market. So you always are the boss of yourself, and you get a more family time. You can travel as you wish. You don't need any approval,
Mhm.
etc. And obviously try and play some more cricket with the with the age that's left in me, and just live the life. That's it.
Okay, so any plans of going back to US?
uh, Probably not in 2025. We'll think about it when it's possible, probably later.
And did you see this news? Trump is recently talking about buying. He want to make Canada 51st state.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know he talks a lot of things that's interesting. It's a great boom in the social media as well, and a lot of people have love for him in the country in US. So one thing that scared me was on the trade tariff, which is really going to be a hit on Canada because already our economy is not doing that great due to various reasons. But hopefully, he doesn't put a lot of tariff on us, which will again hurt our individual wallets.
But recently he did mention that he did say something. It's not him actually. Vivek and Elon Musk. I think they actually stirred up a big mess in terms of H-1B visas. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, in terms of H1, that's always been the case. People in the country think that okay, everybody who is coming from outside the country, they are just trying to get their job, um, and they think that they steal our jobs. That's not the reality. If that position can be filled, obviously anyone could have applied for it, and they can also get into the job if they aspire to do so. But since it all depends on the client needs. Obviously, since I'm in IT, I know what the client expects. They would look for the clients mostly rely on knowledge expertise which is readily available rather than having someone new train them, and then that has always been the case. wherever you go in terms of IT companies. So I strongly believe that that's the reason why people look at H1 as an alternate. It's not about giving cheap labor. It's H1B is not cheap either. Anyone who is on H1B is working in IT. I don't think it's a cheap labor. It's they really get paid good amount of money in US. So
we,
that's a myth.
we were talking to Raj a couple of months ago, no, a month ago maybe. He did mention the same. He said there's no way that companies are going to hire somebody and train them. And also, on the same way, they are not. It is not about uh, companies or US companies going for clients or customers, right? Them going in search of people from abroad. Yeah, he did mention that there are no people to fill in those jobs, and that's why they are hiring. But on Twitter, if you see, they are saying that it's all immigration. They are targeting Indian immigration specifically. In here in Canada, we had the same discussion a week ago, 2 weeks ago, with me in terms of immigration. Here's a different topic. Here, people are fighting about jobs in Tim Hortons.
Right.
That's yeah. That's honestly right. Yeah, it's people are fighting. If you open Twitter, I can name 3 4 handles, Twitter handles who are obviously constantly bashing Indians or Tim Hortons, Tim Hortons, Tim Hortons, Tim Hortons. Indians are, it's all Indians in Tim Hortons now. But 2 days ago, this topic came. It's that's a very high level, right? By the H1B visas for only Indians. And I did see Elon Musk also did remove check marks for verification marks for some people who are talking bullshit. They said he is an immigrant, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, even you just confirmed that there are no opportunities that companies cannot fill inside in their land, right?
Yes.
That's why they are going out because nobody is willing to apply for those jobs.
Yeah, it's not about like willing or it's really about the skill set what the client is looking for. See, most of the companies in US, IT companies or the clients are being serviced by people who are in offshore, which we call as obviously India or whichever country they are working from. So everything is outsourced by that client. So if the client thinks that okay, if this person can travel and work from here in my time zone, that would be beneficial for projects and the roadmap that that particular client has, then they see the value in bringing them here, and that is the reason they go for H1B. It's not about like we every we keep filing those H1B, and we get picked in the lottery, and we just have people travel and come over and then pick up jobs which
I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I believe when you talk about visas, right? I think the topic was more not related to H1B. There are few employers who made their employees to get a business visa, not an actual H1B visa, which is a worker visa. Business visa is only for the purpose of doing business. Let's say, like Shan mentioned, he will travel to US. He will not work there, but he will go meet some
clients.
delegates, or he will anything and everything except work, meeting delegates, or just to meet the stakeholders, meeting the clients, go visit some the platform where, let's say if it is a manufacturing industry, they will go for a tour to see how things are being done. So all the like steps that are being done manually, you'll understand from the end user perspective on how it is being done, and he will have some idea and come back to the own place where he originally works, and he will start giving that overall training or the knowledge to the team to work on a project. Now there have been some allegations, possibly I think some one of the employer has agreed to, I don't want to mention the name of the employer, where a person they made people to travel with business visa, and they started working with the business visa. Say it can be a month, can be 6 weeks or 8 weeks. With a business visa, they cannot stay more than 3 months, I guess, maybe less than that. So every 2 months, right? Some people have been like made to travel to US. They work there. small projects, and they have made big money. So that any news that we hear in the TV or reading in Twitter, even I do not have a Twitter account, by the way, but if I own one, I can post my opinion there. That opinion, if I have a huge followers, they can blindly think what I say is right. And most of the times the followers, they do not even go analyze or understand the fact check, right? That is not being done. I know that recently we talked about some other in some other podcast with regards to an influencer who is going to say about an investment. People are going to blindly believe that.
Yeah.
And eventually there was a huge loss for the overall savings for the life was lost. It's very similar to that. Like, there are news, some people who diligently follow it, understand what are the facts, they talk about with the facts. There are many channels where they will put a very fancy or catchy, like a topic for a title for the video, but when you get into the video, and even if you sit and listen for throughout the entire video length, it will have no relate to no dependency or any association with what the
Yeah.
title had.
Thumbnail
Again,
baits,
yeah,
baits. Yeah.
yeah.
And I agree that you said there has been some misuse of valid visas what have been issued, but I think it really technically it's like you have one rotten apple which spoils the lot, right? So there are certain rotten apples which spoils every credibility of whatever we have been going through from H1B, or for that matter whichever visa is there. We still have people who have come into US, got their been legal, paying their taxes, been got into their green card journey. They got their green cards and they have parents traveling here, and they go back in 6 months and they don't.
Certainly, yeah. Yeah, no, no, like I said, there are few employers who is making use of the loopholes, but when there is going to be, possibly a new filtering process or reassessing the profiles, only who are not really misusing their, the overall profile staying in US, they don't need to really worry about. Those who are all going to panic is the people who believes that I have made something, which I was not supposed to do while getting into the country. Only those candidates or those people will really suffer, or maybe, I don't know what is going to be the outcome. It is still in the discussion, right? It may not go into the overall, like execution of what it is being said now. Okay, thank you so much, Sean, for taking time to meet us today. It was really heartwarming.
Yeah, thank you very much.